Good day to you, Guyana, and welcome to another edition of Facing the Nation. I am Malika Ramsey. Thank you so very much for joining us. It is my pleasure today to be in the company of two beautiful young ladies, and of course that means it's woman power on Facing the Nation. And you know I get excited when that happens. Maybe about 2 weeks ago or so, I did promise you that later on in the month of August we would have a young lady that some of you have not seen or heard from in a very long time on this program, especially for those of you who live in this part of the country, meaning Region 4, but she has been extremely busy. Again, I did promise you that she will be here. She had a camp to take care of, and we'll also be hearing all about that camp today. It is my pleasure to welcome back to Facing the Nation after more than a year, Miss Vanessa Kissoon. Vanessa Kissoon is a youth leader. She's a former member of parliament. That would have been, I think, she served 2 terms in the People's National Congress Reform as a parliamentarian. She's a mother, she's a teacher, she's a comrade, she's a politician, and she's a friend. She's so many things. Vanessa Kissoon, welcome back to Facing the Nation.
Thank you so much, Malika, and it's a pleasure being here.
Okay, great. Great to have you. She's accompanied today by the Secretary for the Linden Youth Corps, which, of course, you'll hear all about that group from Vanessa. But this young lady accompanying her is Ms. Shion Arta, and she's the Secretary of the Linden Youth Corps. Shion, welcome to Facing the Nation.
Thank you.
All right, and welcome, well, I should say welcome back to Region 4, because I'm assuming you're here probably as often as MP Kissoon is. Well, I'm going to call her MP Kissoon because she's a former MP. All right, Vanessa, even before we talk about the Linden Youth Corps and what you have been doing in the past months, in the past 2 years and so on, how has life been? Because today when I posted earlier that I would have former Member of Parliament Vanessa Kissoon, people started inboxing and asking, where has she been? You know, it's good. So for people who have really and truly missed you, how has life been for Vanessa Kissoon after Parliament?
Well, Malika, life has been good to me. First of all, let me say, when you're a child of the Most High, life will be good to you, despite what challenges and difficulties might come. I always tell my young people during the last elections, whenever you're introducing me, remember I'm a teacher by profession. I'm a mother by choice and blessing. Former member of parliament by selection. And so I'm still teaching, still interacting with my young people. One of the greatest things that would have happened is after the elections, I started a women's movement.
Okay.
And that's the VWM, Virtuous Women on a Mission. And actually, Sunday is going to be our 2nd anniversary.
Well, we have had a perfect time.
Yes, and so outside of that, I'm also attending social work through IDC. So I've written my first exams. I'm awaiting results. So still a little jittery, but I know by God's grace I would have done well. We also, through that program, we had to do community projects.
Through the
social work program. So we would have donated bins to the main town council, and we would have also painted pedestrian crossings. That was done during the town week of Linden activities time. And we will be doing a benab in the students' hostel at the Amelia's Ward in the yard, so that they will have, because this hostel hosts students from the sub-region 2, Kokwani, Aichuni. You have students, I think, from Malali, and so who cannot travel every day to go to school in Linden. And so we've chosen to come on board and work through the social work class.
Okay. Oh, so and in a sense, are these projects linked to the women's group?
That's basically the women's group. In fact, we would have played a part with the same the school there, the hostel actually.
The hostel.
Yes, we would have made representation some time back where we had things done for them, and we took supplies for them, sports supplies and so on. The women's group, but it's I'm multitask, multifold.
Okay.
So I'm part of everything in society. And if you recall, I would have said that it matters not where I'm seated.
Yes.
My voice will still be heard.
And
I will still represent the people. And of course, this is part of me. And I think you would have read the article that was in the Chronicle News. This is who I am. This is who I am. And I thank God for every opportunity that I have. Shion is going to talk about some of the things that the youth group would have been doing. Actually, this year I was not around during the Easter because I attended the Home Economics Conference, Caribbean Association of Home Economists, of which I'm now official a member. Being a home economics teacher, being a home economist, we had conference in Jamaica, and the youth group would have executed their kite distribution exercise in my absence, and I felt so proud.
I'm trying to figure out how Vanessa expects me to keep up with all of this and to remember all of these things. I have to ask her. All right, but even before I talk about, and before we pull Shion into the conversation, and before we talk about the specific groups and so on, I still want to focus on you a little bit more. Has exiting Parliament, I mean, we know in life there are phases and there are chapters, but has exiting Parliament taken anything away from you in terms of the politics of Guyana? Because I know you did say your position depends on God and where God puts you and so on, but has exiting Parliament taken anything from you politically in terms of your drive, still wanting better for our people?
Well, Malika, you have to understand that when you're in Parliament, remember you're in that position, you have an upper hand in basically being able to represent at a different level, where the whole political aspect will come in. So basically, yes, because people will be calling me, and remember I am no longer in the Parliament to bring issues that persons may want me to bring at that level. Because the phone calls that I will receive is, we miss you there, and these are the things that are happening. But I do still advise persons, and I direct them to the people who are now sitting in those positions. So of course, once you move from wherever you would have been before, it will, pose some difficulty or some challenge in being able to help or represent at that level. However, the representation and the assistance still continues.
I think what people miss the most, because I certainly miss it, what people miss the most is a certain specific youth female fire that was there. I'm not saying that our current ministers and members of Parliament don't have that fire, but Vanessa brought a different fire, a fire that some of us in a specific group can more identify with. So I think that's what people really miss.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Shion, let's talk about Linden Youth Corps and so on, the group's activities and its aims and so forth.
All right. The Linden Youth Corps first started the year 2009. Our motto is molding young minds for the future. And we would normally take part in a lot of activities. We would have participated in some while. Well, it really didn't depend on whether Ms. Kissoon was in Parliament or was not in Parliament, because now we still do activities even though she's out of Parliament. Like she mentioned, the kite distribution that was done while she was in Jamaica on the CAFRA trip. We would do during Parliament, we did some Mother's Night, pre-Mother's Night and pre-Father's Night show. That was her way of giving back to the community. Now these programs that were held, they were free of cost. And the mothers or the fathers would come out. We would have lucky seats. They would be treated. They would have dinner. And we would normally perform certain talents that we have within the youth group for them. We would have taken part in the Come on the Scene, Keep It Clean, Region 10. We did... we would normally do toy distribution. We would go into various communities and distribute toys. Christmas time, we would do these nice bags for children. Like we went to Bamia and distribute kites. We would do a lot of things, and we are hoping to get backpacks done for children.
For the September
Yes, for September.
Okay.
Yes.
I know in doing all of that, the support from Ms. Kissoon
is
great.
Of course.
Do you see her as a role model, somebody that, especially the young women of Linden, can look up to and, even aim to be like? Whether it be in politics or out of politics, do you see her as a role model?
Yes, actually, I always wanted to become a teacher.
Uh-huh.
But, Linden and stuff. However, I came into contact with Ms. Kissoon. Seeing the person she is, the teacher she be, and the impact she would have on the students she would normally come into contact with, I said, I want to be like that woman. And here I am, would be graduating November from CPC, and I am aspiring to be like this woman here.
Wonderful. And even though I've just met you, I'm proud of you.
I'm gonna have to have some tissue.
You want tissue? I'll check my bag in a minute. Yeah, the waterworks are turning on here. If you're now tuning in, this is Facing the Nation. Today I am having a conversation with former Member of Parliament Vanessa Kissoon. Of course, she's much more than a former Member of Parliament. She's also joined by a member and the Secretary of the Linden Youth Corps, which we will talk about in a minute or so. Vanessa, just to follow up from Shion, she just indicated that she sees you as a role model, and I know there are other young women, especially in Linden, and the groups that you work with, who will also see you like that. Given all that would have happened in our nation in terms of politics, before 2015, after 2015, would you encourage, and this is apart from your teaching career, because I know you would encourage younger ones to become teachers because they mold our nations, but do you still feel a sense of positivity in terms of encouraging our young people to become a part of politics if they so desire?
Malika, yes. Okay. I would like the young people out there to know. I know how we feel. And I say we because I still consider myself young.
Yes, you are.
And sometimes, I believe persons feel disappointed. But I will always tell my children and my young people, when persons meet me and say, we're disappointed you're not back in Parliament, I will always say to them that God has a plan. And there are times when you need to step back, you need to step aside, yes. And then you have to take a look. Maybe there's something you probably should have done that you didn't do, or something that you should be doing that you, like for instance, going back to school. But I want to encourage the young people of this nation that let us stand up, let us continue. We are the future leaders of tomorrow. We are going to be the ones that are going to take this country to the level that we wanted to see. So let us not sit, because during the last elections, if you recall, Malika, I remember when persons heard, Ms. Kissoon's name is not on the list, and so on. I said to them that Guyana is bigger than Ms. Kissoon. And you know that Mr. Solomon and I, we always said that. Yeah. Guyana is bigger than Mr. Solomon, it's bigger than Ms. Kissoon. And so we have to ensure that we maintain that. All right? Indeed. Me not being in Parliament does not mean that young people will not be given that chance. And do not let that disturb your dreams. We have to stick. I don't know, I really don't want to be too arrogant to say, but I like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the movie. I think you know what he said.
I know, yes. But what is it? I can't.
He said, I'll be back.
Yes, but I was trying to see if I can do it in his tone, in his accent. But
yeah. Oh, okay, right.
That might be very embarrassing.
So, yes, and we have to ensure that we continue to support each other. And we, indeed. When we see things out there that positive things that young people, the young Christopher Jones and so on, we're still having some amount of impact. And so quite often I will ask about you. I don't know if you get the messages, but I do find out because, of course, like you said, persons might be missing Miss Kissoon. There's some people that are missing Malika Ramsey too, because we're not able to see you right now in Linden, even with this program. But let us keep the faith and let us understand that sometimes we have to
step back
and then but we have to ensure that we're still positioning ourselves. Indeed. Because we are the future of tomorrow, and we're the future leaders of this beautiful nation, this beautiful country, the Cooperative Republic of Guyana.
And that is exactly why the people miss you. All right, let's move on to some other things. Shion talked about, I think she talked about a cleanup initiative and cleanup campaign and so on. One of the things that we saw emerging with the new APNU+AFC, I'm still calling it new, APNU+AFC administration, is the whole push toward a green economy, greening our communities, greening our city, greening our country. How do have you yet found a way to incorporate that sort of green initiative policy with the works that your various groups are doing in Linden, especially when it comes to cleanup campaigns?
Okay, well, let me say that we were able to participate, and I'm going to be honest here today with you. Being a part of when Mr. Solomon was the former regional chairman, you would have found that there was a level of inclusiveness.
Okay.
And I'm not sure that we're having that the same level of inclusiveness. I know that there would have been. I did attend through Mr. Wright when they were going to have the riverfront activity, and they were going to have cleanup and so on. We were invited, and we did turn up to support, but the community in itself did not give the kind of support that was expected. However, I believe, like I said when I did the interview with Neil concerning the 18th of July, I honestly believe that there's a vision to take Linden, Region 10, Guyana forward. But there are times that there are some persons who may not see that vision.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that that vision is really seen and taken for granted by the people who are in the leadership position in the region at the moment.
I'm happy that you said that too, because I believe, I'm not sure if it's the same way in Linden, but I believe apart from having a vision, if you have not experienced something or you don't have it near and dear to your heart, you may not be as enthusiastic. I'm getting the sense from you that that too is in a sense missing, and if people don't feel that they can connect and relate, or you can relate with them, they may not want to be a part. Is that part of it?
It's something. Yes, I think you put it over nicely. Okay. So yes, and we have to understand that we're all part of the green economy.
Okay.
And so I remember His Excellency the President always say, one reach, or each reach one, or one meet 10, we bring. So we have to ensure that we keep it as inclusive as possible.
All right.
And we will see the progress that we're looking for.
All right. Viewers, I should let you know, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag here. Vanessa came in here limping, and her leg is kind of tied. You can't see that. I can see it. And she got that injury because she was on a camp. And I want her to talk about the camp now. Is that the Linden Youth Corps camp?
No.
No, this is a different camp.
Yes.
Let's talk about that camp.
Well, I would have recently, early up in the year, through some of my teachers, one of course is my former student, and she would have encouraged me, Miss Monica Marks, good morning to you, and Miss Jamila Chapman-Wills. They would have joined the GPM, which is the Guyana People's Militia. And of course they thought that to have their teacher there with them would be a good thing. So I went and I signed up, and I am now a reservist in the Guyana Defense Force. And we had an annual camp, 2 weeks, and that was from the 31st of July to the 13th of August.
Okay.
So we went into Soweo, which is on the highway, and we had our camping there, learning our drills, about turn, left and so on, standing at attention. And then we went off to Makuro, this is off of Bartico, and we had our jungle training there. So,
really?
Yes.
And here I was thinking that when you told me you were on a camp, I'm thinking that it's the camp that the group that Shion is secretary for, the Linden Youth Corps. Here I was thinking that it was that camp. But it's interesting to get all that information from you.
Yes, Malika. So it was really interesting. And in fact, I said to Shion and some of the other young people that next year I'm signing them up so that they can also, because I think it's a camp that, if not all Guyanese young people at the age of 18 should be exposed to. Some persons had a lot of difficulties and so on, but through it all, we all came out. And in fact, the president and team, they were in there, but I don't think they recognized me because I was in ranks and I couldn't break ranks. So I had on my uniform and
everything,
yes,
cap and
yes,
so on.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm almost tempted.
I ate some jungle food, worms, and so on.
Oh, I was about to say that maybe I should be a part, but that deterred me. Even before
it shouldn't, Malika. It shouldn't.
Even before we talk about that some more. Shion, you think this is something, after hearing Ms. Kissoon's experience, you think this is something you'd want to be a part of?
Yes.
Yes. You sound like you still have to build some courage.
I still
You
have
still.
to, right?
Okay, but it would be different.
the majority of what was said to me, it sounds exciting, right? But then the worm and the snake soup and all of these things is like you,
that deterred you a
yeah,
bit.
yeah.
I understand, but think about it some more. Maybe if you decide to, I may decide to. Vanessa, in that aspect of your life, what in terms of being you're a member of it, of the People's Militia now.
Yes.
What would be next for you? What was the next stage?
Well, let me say that I would have learned that there are many opportunities in the Guyana Defense Force for young people in all areas, aspects of life, even in the aspects of sports and all of that. So for me, I'm on a campaign now with Captain October, Lieutenant King in Linden, Miss Marks, Miss Oslin McCalman. We're now going to be working out programs where we're going to have, because I know that the reservists will have to meet, if not once or twice a week. I think it's 8 times in the month. It's also preparing young people, like say for the 51st anniversary, we were able to raise flags at the different schools dressed in our uniforms. We went to nursery schools, primary schools. Myself and the other teachers, we raised the flag at my school, which is Mackenzie High School. So the Guyana Defense Force has a lot of opportunities. Sometimes we hear things, but until we really experience it, then we. And I even said to Shion, had I known this earlier, I think I would have taken it up in my younger days and not going to the politics.
And not going to
but I have no regrets.
Oh, you should.
I have no regrets. And like I said, everything happens for a reason. But one of the things, when we went, we were able to sleep in the jungle, and that was nice. We were able to set up our own camps and tents, and we did hammocks. We were taught how to set our hammocks and so. So we had our webbings and our backs running, It was really,
I know you enjoyed this because you're so animated about this right now.
Yes, so I think, and like I said, some of the young people will now be able from there to move on, whether they're going to go into the cadet area, they can become a private and so on, different areas, the GDF even caters for cooks. And so it was really, really, I think, exciting, it's challenging, and we should not be afraid to have our children and our young people have these experiments. I mean, if at my age, I'm still excited. I can go back next week.
No, but you did declare that we're still young, so I'm not going to accept anything less. And I'm talking to you, and I remember I've done several interviews and had several conversations with people about national service in the past, and the opposition, even before they were in opposition, and now that they're in opposition, they condemned what national service used to be. And I'm getting an idea, I'm getting a sense that it would be what you have experienced is similar to the training that people would have gotten in the national service.
Yeah, and you come out with some amount of skills, and you're able to fit into society. So like I said, there are lots of opportunities outside of just thinking that you might have to carry a gun and go represent, and because when we were there are medics, and they're part of the Guyana Defense Force staff. You have teachers, because even at SOAO you had persons had to come lecture us on the history and so on, and they're members of the GDF. In fact, I met one of my beautiful students. She's now a lieutenant. That's Lieutenant Smart. And there I was standing up, yes, ma'am, good morning,
Good
ma'am.
morning, ma'am. Yes, and when you taught her.
Right? So it was really, really, I'm so pleased. And like I said, I already have my 10-year-old and so on. They're building, because they're going to be going to that camp. God's Spirit. Well, my sons, they want to go into the GDF. So I told them this will be the way. And they also have the teen camp, which goes for a weekend, I think. 3 days going, and that's from 14 to 16. So I would encourage persons, and they have it in all the regions. I'm not sure where to say exactly who to go to for each region. However, for Region 10, Miss Marks, Monica Marks, she's a teacher at Mackenzie High School. Myself, Miss Oslin, I have the contact numbers somewhere in my phone, but persons can contact us, and be a part of
that.
the GPM, which is the Ghana People's Militia.
And it will help to discipline our youth, because we're in an era where they're influenced by so many things that can take them down the wrong road. And on that note, because even though you mentioned it a bit earlier, I still want to talk about your involvement in the Caribbean Association of Feminists and Research Action. But on the note of discipline, what would you say to parents, especially young parents like yourselves now? We're in an era whereby young people are easily influenced by the bad things. I mean, we're seeing young people who are provoked, committing murders, just crime in general. What would you say to young parents, especially in terms of helping to mold their teenagers so they could go on the straight and narrow path?
Malika, let me say it's a challenge. But as a parent, you have to be firm, you have to be affirmative, your yes must be yes, and your no must be no. I know there are times we flex, but we should not also, I see a lot of young parents believing that, if I give my daughter X, or she has the most fancy phone, or my son is wearing the most fancy boots. No. I challenge my children. And I try my best to maintain the discipline. I'm not perfect, but if I say yes, it must be yes. If I say no, it must be no. Young people have to understand it's not all about what they just see out there or what their friends have. We all have a role to play. I remember at a meeting, my son's teacher, they were saying, the children are not also just to be blamed, parents. I said, yes, but children have responsibility.
Exactly.
And we have to have them to understand that my 10-year-old knows right from wrong. We might say, they're small, but trust me, they know. Even my 6-year-old, she says some things sometimes, but that they know. Because they know if they use certain language, it's not correct.
Exactly.
They know that if they move this pen, mommy is going to either discipline in whatever way mommy disciplines. No one is going to come and tell me that I can't discipline my child in whatever way. But let me say this, one of the things that I would have found as a parent, I am always praying. Malika, I get up 2 o'clock in the mornings, and so I am praying. My daughter can tell you. I pray for my children. Because outside of all the physical battles, I personally believe that there is spiritual battles.
Yes.
And when you're a woman like me in society, trust me, things happen. People just don't like you for no reason at times, and people do things. We don't want to believe it, but it's out there.
Yes.
And I pray for my children, and I will encourage all the mothers out there, and even fathers. We need to pray for our children. We need to lift them up before God. This is the other side of Miss Kissoon.
I'm hearing it. It's coming out slowly, and that's a good thing.
Yes, we need to. You have to. Because our children are being faced with so many things out there. Our young men, they're being faced with our sons, because one time you tell them, you know what? You got to be a man. And then when a young man cries, boys don't cry. No. They're emotional. They have emotions too. But we have to understand and know how to balance it. And then when you train them up, trust me, my son my eldest son turned 20 Tuesday gone. And he would say to me, he said, Mom, you would have taught me so much. And I don't even remember some of the things he remembers that I said to him about life, or that we would have had a discussion. As a parent, you don't even remember, but you know what? It's stuck. It's stuck. And I want us to understand that. They listen, Many times we're talking and we're like, but I'm talking to you, and it looks as if they're not listening and they're not paying attention, but trust me, they listen. And sometimes as parents, we don't want to say sorry. And these are things, but it's okay to say sorry. I remember one day I blurted out on one of my sons, and he didn't deserve it. I didn't do it right away, but later on the day I hugged him. I said, Mommy, I'm really sorry. I didn't realize that, and these are things that build that relationship with your children. And we should be able to hug them and kiss them and, let them know, say I love you. even with our teenagers, message them 1 or 2 times. Tell them you love them.
She is smiling.
And let them know, because, we have challenges. You might have a teenage daughter or son. You don't like the young man or the young lady they're talking to, but you have to still be there to guide them. And so on.
Shion, I know you're preparing to become fully a teacher, but as a young person, do you find that you would have experienced some of these same challenges that we're discussing now?
Yes, like in many occasions, yeah.
Okay, but you found ways that
I
did.
Dealt with. I did.
Okay, all right. On to the other things. Viewers, the other thing I didn't tell you is that apart from the Caribbean Association, and I'm laughing because it's amazing that one woman is involved in all of these things. Apart from being a member of the Caribbean Association of Feminist and Research Action, Ms. Kissoon is also the chairman of the Linden Critchlow Labour College branch. She is the director on the Linden Special Needs Board and the director of the Region 10 Broadcasting Incorporative Board. Let's talk about the Broadcasting Incorporative Board first. How much of a role do you have to play as a member?
Well, Malika, at the moment, that board is not fully functioning. So I really would not want to expand on issues concerning the Linden Broadcasting Inc. So, but soon as we're up and running, I will make myself available
to speak
exactly
on that. Can we speak about the Linden Special Needs Board?
Well, I've recently been asked to be a member of this board. And one of in fact we had a meeting yesterday, but I was not in Linden. However, the Linden Youth Corps would have already taken on the challenge we noticed that the gate to the entrance for the building, it needs repainting. And so on Sunday I'm still seeking some assistance to get a gallon of white paint. I already acquired the paint brushes, and so we will be going there and paint the gate. I noticed that they have a greenhouse. They do some farming with these students. So I am now a member, and I'm now familiarizing myself. I would have been, I think Shion would have, during her teaching practice, they had to spend some time with the students. And so, but I have not gotten to actually be with the students as yet, but hopefully in September. But I would have already spoken to Ms. Janice Gibson, and we would have spoke about programs that we can get involved in, even with the greenhouse and the shade house, the farming and so on, where we can involve schools, because my school, they do agriculture. And I was saying to them that we can incorporate, have the children come and interact and let us, because sometimes we have to have our students understand the difficulties or disabilities of others. And they might maybe appreciate life a little more and what they're exactly. So that's where I am with that program.
Okay, let's talk about CAFRA a bit, even though you did touch on it earlier, because it's under that organization that you went to Jamaica.
No, I went to Jamaica under the Caribbean Association of Home Economists. That's under, this is where home economics teachers and other persons involved in who are home economists from different countries. We came together every 2 years, and they have conference. This was my first, and like I said, most of these are now my first.
Your first.
Yes, with CAFRA, a young lady by the name of Malika Ashford. She's a Guyanese, and she's part of the CAFRA Guyana group. So she, knowing me and so on, she would have gotten us to be a part of the CAFRA Guyana. So we are now going. I know this organization has been existing, but we're now part of it, and I know our most recent discussion, because of course all these groups we have chat rooms. The women, we're going to be first of all, we're going to be doing articles on all the abuse that is happening with our young girls and our women. But for me, I am going to be speaking with my executive from the VWM, and also speaking with the CAFRA Guyana people, because I think we need to hold, if not start at a regional level, I think we need to come out as women and have, whether it's a rally or something, to talk about these and bring more women aware, and have them understand that we don't have to accept And in some cases, if we're not pleased with what is being done to these perpetrators and so on, we have to start speaking out.
Exactly.
All right? And I saw a young lady put up an article on Facebook, and, you know, she's young, probably in her late 20s, and she's saying that, you know, she can't deal with it. Most recently, the 12-year-old girl that's been investigated that was raped by the taxi driver. And I think that's where we're going to start. In Linden, I want the women, I want us to come out. If it's from the bridge to the regional chairman's office somewhere, we're going to seek our permission, and we're going to have a rally.
Okay,
and
that's a good idea.
And we're going to have the women. I know on the 25th of every month, through CAFRA, we're asked to wear orange.
Okay.
And that signifies that you're against domestic violence against women and girls. So maybe that might be a good point. Look for the date, 25th, and we organize. And I hope you'll come up once we have that and wear your orange. Because, Malika, it's really sad. It's really sad when you have, I think, 18 months old.
Yes. We have some, it's unfortunate, and I think it comes back to where you spoke about the spiritual aspects of life. Evil exists, and that's the only explanation I can put forward for somebody raping an 18-month. How do you do that? And again, that's why I'm happy that you spoke about the spiritual aspect of life and reminded us that we need to pray for our children, pray for our families in general, because again, the only explanation there is evil. So, you know, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, and it pains me. And we have to also, though we're going to be out there representing women and girls, we have to ensure also that we reach out to our men, because we have some of our men that are still hurting based on their past. But at this time, I want to call on people like the Honorable Raphael Trotman, the Honorable Joseph Harmon, the Honorable Basil Williams. I know that they're busy. I know that they have stuff, but I would like to see and calling on people like and I'm going to say Honorable and the Reverend Pastor Messiah, Pastor Selwyn Sills. Let us come together. I know these men, these pastors would have been doing work with men and so on, but let us have it also, not just at a national level. Let us get into the regions. Let us organize. My women's group, in our first year, we had a program that we had. It was Woman Know Your Health. The health of a woman determines the wealth of a nation. And women were able to attend. We invited schools to send off the fifth form girls and teachers. The Honorable Minister Dr. Karen Cummins was a part of that program. In fact, they sponsored some aspects of that program. And women were able to learn about their bodies and different things. Really, and we're trying to have the part two of it. Just that everybody been a little busy, but we're going to be working on that, visiting the ministry again. There's also a program that we would have planned. It was not able to come off. That's Woman Know Your Rights, Emancipate Yourself. We have women out there who are being pulled in by the police or probably reporting an abusive situation. Sometimes we don't know our rights. Sometimes we know. We know that we're entitled to a phone call. Everybody knows that. But no, not only afraid, but would my husband be the right person to call, or should I call Miss Ramsey, who might have a better understanding? Because sometimes, you know, we're entitled to a phone call, and we pick up our phones and we call our husbands or our sons, or somebody say, I'm in the lockups. That's it, because the police not giving you a chance. And then the phone is hung up, your husband or somebody turns up at the station, the police abuses that person, you're there, you have no proper representation. So we need to educate women. And like I said too, we need to also reach out to our young boys. Let us have these ministers going to schools, talk to our young men, those who are now into the, and let me say this, I know people focus a lot on fourth. I know your time might be running.
No, you go ahead.
They focus a lot sometimes on fourth and fifth forms or sixth formers. But I honestly believe that the third form is a transitioning stage.
Very critical indeed. And I think we can recall when we were in third form.
And I always believe that whatever we're going to start, let us start it. Because at third form, I walk into my third form classes and I'm like, so what are you going to do in 10 years from now? And people are still fumbling. And they're now going into fourth form where they have to make a career decision.
Yes.
And so we have to start molding them from the first form, yes, but the third form level I find is very critical, and we need to focus. So by the time they're leaving that third form to make that decision, they're positive about who they want to be. We can have changes, and you give them that. You let them know life is there. Options, we might make a decision.
Yes.
This part might not, but you have to have a plan B. All right? And so we start moving. And I would really want to see our ministers and so coming out, our pastors. Let us have this interaction. Let the young men understand their roles. And not that it's okay for me to have a child over here, a child over there, and whatever.
Indeed.
You might have, but you still, that child is going to be losing. I'm going to send you a video where this woman explained how much is being lost when you have to play the role in so many different homes and all of that. You know, so basically, but it's so deep. And there's so much I know that we have to play, Malika, as young women, as young leaders, as persons who people look up to. And, you know, I will always say to people, I'm not perfect, but I will continue to do my best.
There's the effort. That's the thing. No one in society is perfect. Even the people that we look up to and call role models, they are not perfect. But it is being able to know who you are, where you're going, even when you make mistakes, being able to correct those mistakes. So, you know, we're never saying that any of us are perfect and that we should be perfect. Vanessa, I can listen to you all afternoon, but unfortunately, I can't. Before I let both yourself and Shion go, and you were such wonderful guests. As usual, you are, Vanessa. What would you like to leave with? And this is specifically for Region 4 and Georgia, because again, I like to remind people, Georgetown misses Vanessa Kissoon. What would you like to leave, you know, with people, younger folks, older folks, people who still believe in the kind of Vanessa Kissoon leadership, the power, the young woman, you know, the youth power and all that? What would you like to leave with them at this point in time?
Well, let me say to all my supporters, and over the years, I want to say thank you. First of all, let me say thank you. You know, whenever I'm in Georgetown, I'm on the road, like, for instance, with this hairstyle, some people will be like, you know, they're looking at them like, and I'm like, yes, it is the same person. They'll be like, is it Vanessa Kissoon? And I want to say to you that I do appreciate all the warm hugs. And, you know, when persons see me in the streets and, you know, they hug me and they say the encouraging words, keep up the good fight. And, you know, we still love you. I want to say to you, I still love you. And that Vanessa Kissoon is still alive. All right, you might not be seeing me because I'm not in Parliament, of course, and you might not be seeing me there, of course, representing you and challenging whoever I have to challenge to ensure that I get whatever message over. But I want to say to us all, let us keep the faith. Let us not give up, because we're not quitters, and we know the old adage, you know, quitters never win.
Exactly.
And we are winners at the end of the day, but we have to keep up the fight. You might not be seeing Vanessa Kissoon as you're accustomed to, but Vanessa Kissoon will say it again. It matters not where I'm seated. Okay, my voice will still be heard. I'm still out there, still fighting women's rights. To all my women, power today. I want to say women's power. Power to the women of Guyana. You know that whenever we stand up, we make a difference.
Exactly.
And so let us continue. I would like to see, like I said, the women coming out. Let us come out and stand up against this domestic violence against our women and girls, and even our young men, because we have some of them who are suffering silently, and because of pride, we don't know. Let us not be afraid to talk out and represent, and continue to hold the faith. Let us keep it up.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. It has been a pleasure. Viewers, if you're missing this, if you're now joining this conversation, you missed it. But for those of you who follow me on social media, remember, before the end of the day, the conversation will be loaded to YouTube and also posted to our Facebook channel. Go ahead, Vanessa. I think she has something else to say.
I want to say also thank you to the wonderful people of the Linden Youth Corps, Miss Arthur and team, Renee and all the other girls, Carletta, Shellon, I can't mention everybody else's name. However, to the VWM, the Virtuous Women on a Mission. We're going to be celebrating our 2nd anniversary. For our 1st anniversary, we would have honored men in our society. One of those persons being Ms. Pastor Selwyn Sills. We had Sharma Solomon. We had Stan Smith, Snook. Some of the men in the community who will always be giving back, but persons seem to forget them at times. This year, we would have planned to do some things for our children. However, we're still going to be doing that, but it will not happen on Sunday.
Okay.
We're going to be having some other programs where we're going to be inviting the women of Linden and Region 10 to be a part of what is health, what is to do with your rights, what is to do with, craft and so on. So I just want to say thank you, Jackie George, the woman who was behind me to ensure that we started this group. I must pay tribute to Jackie, say good morning to you, Jackie, or good afternoon. All the other women, Miss Latoya Howard, who's our secretary, could not have been here today. Suzette, Mavis, and in the women's group, we address each other as lady. So we say Lady Thompson, or
I like
say
that.
Lady Malika or Lady Ramsey. We say lady. So to all my lovely ladies of the VWM and to my young people of the Linden Youth Corps, to the people of Linden and Region 10, and to the wonderful people of Guyana, all those persons I met from Berbice on the camp. Young people, I love you people, and let us just hold the faith and remember, we can do all things through Christ who strengtheneth us. Let us not forget that.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vanessa, and thank you, Shion. Thanks both for being here. Again, viewers, this is Facing the Nation. I'll take a quick break. On the other side of the break, I have some brief parts of a very important release to read for you, though that's for those of you who would have missed it. Of course, all in the name of trying to quiet some of the propaganda out there. Of course, this is Facing the Nation. Stay tuned. All right, thank you very much for staying with Facing the Nation. Unfortunately, my time for today is almost over with you, but some of you would have been reading and you would have heard on the news last night and even 2 nights before that, Minister Hastings is to receive a detailed TOR. I'm just reading a brief release just to clear up some of the misconception out there. Of course, as some of you know, I am one of the press officers, the press secretaries at the Ministry of the Presidency. And just for those of you who seem to have been a bit misinformed, this is an exact release from the Ministry of the Presidency. The Ministry of the Presidency wishes to clarify that no new ministry is being created, and that is the essence of it, because there is some propaganda that the current administration keeps creating new ministries. However, somebody was renamed. Anyway, the Ministry of the Presidency wishes to clarify that no new ministry is being created for the current minister within the Ministry of Communities, Ms. Dawn Hastings Williams, who will assume responsibility for public affairs as a minister within the Ministry of the Presidency beginning September 1, 2017. The ministry wishes to correct this misinformation being peddled in sections of the press, which incorrectly reports that Minister Hastings Williams' appointment brings to 20 the number of ministries. There are, in fact, only 15 ministries. The Ministry of the Presidency is a single ministry which houses the Office of the President, the Office of the Prime Minister, the Minister of State, the Minister of Citizenship, the Minister of Public Service, and with Hastings Williams' addition, the Minister of Public Affairs. Minister Hastings Williams is currently still performing her functions as minister within the Ministry of Communities and will maintain that role until the 31st of August 2017. President David Granger has outlined several key areas which will fall within her remit, including oversight of the sections which fall under the President's Secretariat, administration of the National Endowment for Science and Technology, that's NEST, program, and hinterland and rural relations. Minister Hastings will receive detailed terms of reference from the head of state before taking up office on September 1, 2017. President Granger has said that the move is part of a continuous process of rebalancing government's work with the aim of ensuring efficiency and the effective delivery of services. I just read that to clear up some of the, as the release itself stated, to clear up some of the misconception out there that there are creations of new ministry. There are no such thing. In fact, we have 15 government ministries. And on that note, I have to go from Facing the Nation this week. Once again, thank you very much to both of my guests, former member of Parliament, youth leader, teacher, so many hats she wears. I don't have enough time to repeat them. Ms. Vanessa Kissoon, and also to her guest, she was accompanied by Secretary of the Linden Youth Corps, Ms. Shion Arta. This has been Facing the Nation. I am Malika Ramsey. Be good Guyanese citizens, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. Goodbye.